Hey guys, so we're here, back again with another review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Mattel Masters of the Universe Origins Strydor. An oldie, but in my opinion at least, a goodie. That, and I think the MOTU Origins line needs to bounce back from the Teela and Zor 2-pack review I put up yesterday, which was, well, lackluster being nice. So, with that being said, before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, why don't we take a look-see at Strydor's accessories, because there's quite a few, actually. All things considered, I think, unlike the Teela and Zor 2-pack I looked at yesterday, this was an overall pretty solid value for money. So, as far as accessories go, he does come with two little side guns here. Plug it to the sides of the, I guess, shoulder area. I don't know what you call that on a horse. My cousin in Florida would know a heck of a lot better than me. But you get two of those. You get reins made out of real string. Probably the same stuff Beastman's whip's made out of, but you get these. You even get the little handle sculpted with the little wrist guards, so figures can hold onto those and not drop them all over the place. We get three penis-shaped blast effects. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. They look like penises. Hopefully I don't get flagged for this, but you do get three of these. Two of them go on the front guns. One of them goes on the butt gun. Because, once again, let's call a spade a spade. It's a butt gun. And then you also get an alternate helmet. This one having a unicorn horn. Kind of reminds me of that old Rankin Bass fantasy flick, The Last Unicorn. Not sure where I can watch that. Anyone know where I can watch that? I wouldn't mind revisiting it. There was a cool little skeleton guy in it. And the evil Red Bull person. And then last but not least, we get a display stand, which can, attach to Castle Grayskull. Had a brain fart there. But you can attach this to Castle Grayskull. It's even got a little stable here and here, which, you know, a horse stable should be a lot more big and substantial than that, but it's fine. We do also get this nifty-rooney flight kind of base with a big ratchet on there, so you can pose Strydor however you see fit. That said, though, it does not rotate down there. Strydor, unlike Zor, is an upgrade from the vintage counterpart, which is kind of what I'm looking for in the, you know, beast steed animal characters in this line, because the old figures from the vintage line, and granted I don't have a vintage Strydor, but it was kind of a brick, couldn't do a lot with it, much like the Battle Cat and Panther and whatnot. And the Zor was just a carbon copy of the vintage version, which has not been the trend with the, again, beast or animal type characters in this line. So it just seemed kind of cheap, kind of lazy, kind of why. So the fact that Strydor here is a much, much better example of what this line is capable of, I think warrants a review, even though he is quite old now, almost a year old. So, yeah, late to the game on this, but hey, better late than never. So, taking a closer look at Strydor, he is pretty light, he's kind of hollow. Doesn't feel cheap by any means, but he's not, you know, chunky or hefty or heavy or anything like that, which is fine, because you want him to be able to pull off a lot of horse poses, and can't do that if he weighs like 25 pounds, right? That said, as far as articulation on this guy is concerned, his head can look up and down pretty good. You can tilt side to side. I bumped the camera there. He's got a weird mouth, but that's for the reins, so if you put the reins in there, that kind of fills that up. He's got a little rotation. not a ton. The helmet comes off easy enough, and you can see his head underneath there. Now, I don't know if this is like the stock version, or this helmet on here is how the vintage figure looked, but I kind of like this one more. It just fits the look better, and if it's more like the vintage toy, that's kind of what I'm going for. That said, he does have forward and back in the front legs. Does have a single hinge in the knee. He's got a single hinge in the foot. Then the same thing goes for back here, except these are heavy ratchets. Hear that click there. Same with these legs, which surprisingly enough, these ones don't have that, but it's probably because these are going to support most of the weight. Let's get those ratchets in the hooves. So, really well done. Love the tight ratchets on this guy. I think mine's legs are a little funky the way I have them posed here, but that is what it is. That said, the turret on the back does rotate, and so does his tail. So that's your lot for articulation. There's the seat, the cockpit, if you will, which you can put figures in. So I guess since that's pretty much it. I mean, it's, you know, silver, black, bluish, whatever. Looks really good. Looks like Strydor. You know, gets the point across. Hope we get a Night Stalker. I know there's a naysayer out there saying that this line's going to end at retail soon, which I don't know, man. My local Walmart actually moved all their MOTU stuff, and we don't know where it is now. There's like none in the aisle where it used to be, so I have no idea. All I know is my Target's getting stuff and putting it out when they can, so, you know, it is what it is, but I hate to see this line die because, you know, nobody wants 50 naked Stratoses and Andras and Sorceresses and Jitsus and Buzz-Offs, but, you know, it is what it is. So, let's see here. Why don't we gear this guy up before we start ranting and raving about stupid people on the internet I don't like. Pop this gun in there. It can't be easier said than done. There. Now, I don't know what these handles are for. I imagine they're for figures to grip onto, but every time I do it, just kind of drop them. Or the guns pop out, I should say. There you go. I guess we'll give him the reins, which just plug right into his maw there. It's not soft plastic, but it's the type of plastic to where you can kind of like what they use with the missiles with the little ball pegs on them and activate them to shoot or whatever. It's kind of like that. There he is with the alternate helmet with the unicorn horn. But I'm gonna take that off, and we're just gonna go with the regular look here. I prefer this look anyways. If you're curious how the blast effects attach, they just plug on like this. Whoop. Can rotate it around a little easier that way, but again, we're gonna take that off. And we're gonna bring in good old Fisto here. Unfortunately, he only has like one hand because, of course, he's got the big fist there. I'm gonna put him in the cockpit like so, and we're gonna put one of these in his hands here. I'm not sure how this is supposed to go. I imagine like this. We're going to wrap this around the knuckle so it don't fall out. supposed to plug into this here? I don't know. No, not really. They just kind of sit there. Alright. That's kind of wonky. I wish these had better storage. I guess that is what it is. There's not really a place to put this other one other than up here. So I guess that's that. Yeah, that doesn't really work, but whatever. There you go. There's Fisto on Strydor. Looking cool. I mean, that's how I'm displaying mine. I will say, much like the Battle Armor He-Man and Battle Cat 2-pack, I do wish that this was a Fisto and Strydor 2-pack. I think it would have been a slightly stronger release if it was that, and we could have gotten another figure from the original vintage line in the slot that Fisto would not be filling. Same thing with Jitsu. I mean, I like Fisto and Jitsu. I like that we got them single carded. They were cheaper that way, but I would have bought them with their steeds anyways, because they're starting to pack figures with vehicles, and why not pack figures with their steeds? That makes more sense to me. But at any rate, I'm going to take him out of here. I'm going to take these reins out because they're just kind of awkward. They don't really make a whole lot of sense without a rider in there. And now, I know somebody out there is going to be curious. There he is next to... His knees are a little bent, but you can see that Strydor is clearly taller. But I'm not going to waste your guys' time with size comparisons. You guys know how big this guy is. You just saw me take Fisto out and do all that. So, you know, I don't feel it necessary to really show that off. So we're just going to do what we've been doing to keep things short and sweet. And, well, doing most of the time. You know, lately we haven't been doing it just because I've had size comparisons to show. But in this case, we're just going to compare this guy to our two regulars and wrap things up. And as promised, here is Strydor with our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus, the Livid Spawn, who's not towering over everyone today, because even though Strydor is an Origins release, he's still a friggin' horse, man, and horses should be bigger than most of my other figures, right? That said, while he is bigger, you're not going to be able to use Strydor with your 1/12 to, you know, the 6, 7, 8-inch figures. He's just too small for that. You're going to need something like the McFarlane horses or the Mythic Legion's horses for that. But hey, for Origins at least, or anything in the 5-inch scale, I think Strydor is a perfect fit. So with that being said, kind of wrap things up, some final thoughts. Overall, and for the original retail price of about $30, or better yet, what I paid for mine, which is somewhere between $8 to $12, talk about a bargain. I really like this figure, man, and I'm calling it a figure because it is what it is, man. It is an articulated beast, or steed, or in this case, steed slash ride, because it is a mechanical horse after all. And if you're in it to win it with the Origins line, like I know some of you out there are, or if you're selective like me, my opinion, you gotta have Fisto's ride, man. They go hand in hand. I just hope we get a Night Stalker and this line doesn't get canceled prematurely like the son of a gun Scott Knightlick has predicted, we will say, because I'll believe it when I see it, dude. But long story short, this is a definite upgrade to the vintage counterpart, unlike the Zor I looked at yesterday, and I think it's a much better value per dollar than that 2-pack. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you're so inclined, please feel free to do all the YouTube rigmarole, as well as hit me up over on Instagram at Overlord Productions. If you ever want to talk toys or anything in particular, that is the #1 best way to get a hold of yours truly. That said, though, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when we all know someone out there who probably has about 8 of these, we'll say. You know who you are. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.